Good evening. It's January 16th, 2025, Thursday, and it's my honor to be sitting here with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. How are you doing today, Mr. Jeckovich?
Very good.
You're looking well. You're looking chipper. Yeah. We're reading Mr. Jeckovich's book, Their Mother's Sons. How many pages is that, monster?
849.
You better get busy writing another book, because I'm almost done. I'm knocking on the door of 800 pages read already. By the way, any of these listeners want to listen to the book, there's about 400 and some podcasts. You can take it right from the beginning to the end. It's very interesting, and especially we enjoy the parts from World War II. Mr. Jeckovich was a teenager in World War II in Company H, 2nd Battalion, 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. Isn't today just a beautiful gift?
Oh, yeah.
It's a gift. Mr. Jeckovich is knocking on the door of 100. Here we go. He's right around the corner. When Mr. Jeckovich was born in 1925, and here we are, 2025. Did it go by so quickly?
Oh, yeah.
You literally watched the pages of the calendar fly off?
Oh, yeah.
When Mr. Jeckovich was born, gasoline was 7 to 9 cents per gallon. And when they filled up your car for the total price of $2 to $3, they also checked the air in your tires, checked your oil and transmission fluid, if there was one, mostly manual shifts then. They did clean your windshield. They gave you a full service, didn't they? Now you have the privilege of paying $4 to $6 per gallon, $100 plus to fill your tank, and you have the privilege of standing out there in all the weather conditions, holding that nasty, nasty handle, pumping that gas in for yourself. And forget about any services. You won't get any. If you need air in your tires, you put a couple bucks in a little foolish air compressor, not enough compression or pressure to fill up a basketball, let alone your tires, and you'll sit there for 20 minutes watching your tire easily inflate maybe 1 or 2 pounds at a time. So basically in that situation, going from full service to self-service, it's like, what the hell in a handbasket, that's for sure. And things are much differently then. The family was consisted of the father that was a breadwinner. He made his check and brought it home. On Fridays, his wife would buy groceries for 3 or 4 or 5 family members, 20, 30 bucks a week, and that was plenty. And by the way, Mr. Jeckovich grew up during the Depression, and did you feel like you missed anything?
No, we were fed well. We got clothing out Easter time. We got new clothes. I didn't see a big jump in our living.
So you felt like you just had a normal life?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And then Mr. Jeckovich went into service as a teenager. The teenagers were the fighting age, and Mr. Jeckovich was on the front lines, front combat lines. And at the time of World War II, there was 16,400,000 young men and women participating in World War II. Now we have about 80,000 left. All the rest are dead, either from the war or natural causes, maybe from cancer. During World War II, the Red Cross passed out packs of cigarettes like candy bars.
Unfiltered.
What kind of cigarettes do they pass out?
Pall Mall, Chesterfield, Lucky Strike.
So if you're lucky enough to make it through the war, and you didn't get your head blown off, or you lose an arm or a leg, you picked up a wonderful, nasty, dirty habit of cigarette smoking. So 20 or 30 years later, you indirectly died from World War II.
Yeah.
Now today there's approximately, maybe less, I have a feeling less, 7,000 combat veterans left. 7,000 combat veterans left. They're most in their late 90s or early 100s, and we're losing them at a rate of 150 a day. So do the math. Here you go. Figure it out. Mr. Jeckovich is here to share his knowledge of the war and life when times were simpler, when you weren't hooked up to a damn cell phone or a laptop, and it devours every minute of your waking life. Back then, there was a phone, one phone that was stuck on the wall, and that was your freedom. When you left that house, there was no phone calls. No one could bother you, right?
Yeah.
And back in the day, those phones were stuck on the wall. You'd have to stand up and talk on them with 1 or 2 foot cord. But what did you hear when you picked up the phones?
You heard somebody else talk. We had a party line.
Explain to us what a party line is.
Party line, they put two separate families on the same phone, and they either listening or talking.
Yeah. 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 Isn't that something? Houses back then were $2,000. Nice ones are $3,000. Cars were $700 or $800 new. Life was much simpler then.
Groceries were a lot cheaper too.
Yeah, $20 or $30. And times were much simpler then. That's for sure. We have a few text messages, and one of them we heard before, but we might as well answer it. What's your secret to longevity?
Genes, the genes.
Okay.
What you're born with. What you're born with.
Okay, your dad made it to 43 and your mom 89.
Yeah.
What else did you do during your life that would bring you to this number of 100? What other things did you do? Did you jog?
I jogged.
80 years.
I didn't smoke. I didn't drink.
I see. So you had a pretty clean life, right?
Well,
You had a pretty clean life. And you're in fine shape. Mr. Jeckovich never took a vitamin or a prescription in his life. He can read 3 newspapers, which he does every morning, including the Wall Street Journal, without any glasses. And he can squeeze your hand and he could knock you down with the strength. The strength is in his hand. But keep in mind, Mr. Jeckovich, because he jogged for 80 years and he had a hard fall when he was parachuting in the Ardennes forest during 1944, his knees recently blew out. When your knees recently blew out, and then you have a lot more work ahead of you. Every day is kind of a struggle, right, Mr. Jeckovich?
yeah.
When your knees blew out.
You wind up in a wheelchair.
Yeah. It could be worse, though, but when Mr. Jeckovich started jogging 80 years ago with his beat-up boots and corduroy pants and old sweatshirt, that wasn't an accepted thing. People didn't know how to take someone driving down the roads, jogging down the sidewalks. What did they say to you?
Get off the road, you bum.
Yeah, they thought Mr. Jeckovich was jogging because he didn't own a car. And they didn't understand he was jogging for health, longevity,
Yeah.
a better life. And what did they throw at you, Mr. Jeckovich?
Stones, rocks, cans of food or something.
One time they threw a Campbell's soup can full and popped him right in the head. Mr. Jeckovich during World War II has been shot by a sniper in the shoulder, bombed with a dirty bomb that throws out nuts, bolts, and razors. Still has shrapnel in his legs.
Lost a hip.
Lost a hip, trench foot, blew out knees from a hard fall from a parachuting incident. And the list is long. You name it, they threw it at him. He went to hospitals in Paris to recover for a short time, all bandaged up. They noticed that he could squeeze a machine gun trigger. That's what he specialized in, heavy-duty machine guns. And he could walk. And what they tell you?
Fit for duty.
Hey, get out there in that filth. Get out there in that war zone. Get out there where there's dead bodies to your left, your right, behind you, in front of you, and start shooting that machine gun again. And thank God he made it. He made it through the war, and then eventually he made it back to Niagara Falls, New York. And the book is written in honor of his mother, Anna Targus Jeckovich. And when you got back to the falls, you finally have the war behind you. What did your mother say to you?
He says, get busy. We got a lot of work to do. We ain't far behind. You're just wasting time.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Because the only way to make a man whole is work, work, work.
Yeah.
When a
that's
man's
right.
not working, it's not right. He doesn't feel right. Nothing gets accomplished. But by the same token, many, many young men today are extremely lazy, and I feel sorry for their future because basically, in many ways, their mother ruined them. Their mothers catered to them and treat them like such little sissies, and that's so damaging because when a guy's 30 years old and still being hand-fed with his mother and living in his mother's basement, that mother's not going to live forever. Then the guy's a vegetable. He can't do nothing. So the secret is, like Mr. Jekovich's mother, got him right to work. Work, work, work. Period. There was no tears shed. She got him working right away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we got some other text about what medals did you get during World War II?
What medals?
Yeah.
Oh, good conduct, Purple Heart,
2 Bronze Stars.
3 Bronze Stars.
Yeah, a real deal here, folks. Real deal here. Another text is, what advice would you give to someone for a long and happy marriage?
Be certain you know who you're marrying. Know the person.
And how long were you married for?
69 years.
69 long, wonderful years. And the backstory on that, Mr. Jeckovich proposed to Delphine Stulak in Lackawanna in a Roman Catholic basilica. And once Delphine Stulak accepted his marriage proposal and they became fiancés, they went to the altar, they prayed for a long and happy marriage. I guess God was listening then.
Oh, yeah.
God was listening then. God was there then. Sometimes I have to think how nice and smooth that went through. Where was our God when 6 million Jews were slaughtered during World War II? Were tortured to death? Where was our God?
Look in the concentration camps.
Yeah. Mr. Jeckovich, at the end of the war, busted open the concentration camps with many other Allied soldiers. And it was a horrible sight to see young men like that. What was the first thing they told you not to do?
Don't feed them. Don't feed them.
They're down. Big strapping men, 200, 250, are down to 60 and 70 and don't even have enough strength to walk, get out of those little filthy cots. It was absolute horror and terror. Horror and terror. Things that will rent to these soldiers' minds from World War II 6 or 7 times a day. 6 or 7 times a day. What would be your advice today to the fellow is in Detroit, Michigan, him and his wife, they're in their 30s, they want to open up a self-serve laundromat. What would you tell them?
I said, don't do it. The culture is not right for it.
The culture's not right. What do you mean by that?
Well, you get people going in that you have a nice, neat, clean place. They'll come in and destroy everything. They'll just go in and destroy everything. No reason at all.
No reason at all, just to raise hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got all that money invested, and that's it.
And you'll never be able to recoup it.
No.
You don't have the money to start again. Yeah, just recently in New York City, I read that 47 self-serve laundromats, these are mom and pop businesses, were completely destroyed by illegal aliens. After they stole the money, just for the hell of it, they destroyed every aspect of the store.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell what it was. And then lo and behold, the mom and pop owners didn't have the money to restart again. So you're saying don't do it, the culture's not there.
No, don't do it, no.
Let's see.
Stay low.
A couple weeks ago, we had the most texts come in. I didn't elaborate on it or talk on it, and I don't think I will. The most texts came in about our last reading a couple weeks ago. It was titled, "The Most Poisonous People on Earth Come Disguised as Family." Most poisonous people on earth come disguised as family. And one guy from Rochester, we're not going to get into this because those are just disgusting low-life people. Why waste breath on it? But one guy had an interesting thing to say about it from Rochester, New York. He says, forget about Waldo. Where the hell is Mr. Jeckovich's two daughter-in-laws, two sons and his daughter? He said that, and that tells the whole story
Yeah.
there. Forget about Waldo. Where the hell is Mr. Jeckovich's two daughter-in-laws, two sons, and his daughter? They disappeared. They abandoned him like a rat on a sinking ship. Rats have a sixth sense, they know what abandon. So we're going to leave it at that. What's the sense of even elaborating it? But I thought his comments summed it up pretty well. So you're looking nice today in your new
Did
clothes.
you read in the paper about that little boy getting killed?
Yeah, horrible thing.
With
I
two
can't-
dogs.
I can't understand why people would have such vicious animals, especially with little kids around. It's horrifying.
And that one dog was a vicious dog.
He had troubles with it all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They marred the hell out of that poor kid, 80 years old.
Yeah, horrible story. Horrible story. There's nothing I could say to change that. Just absolutely horrible. Yeah. Well, Mr. Jeckovich's book is coming to an end. How many pages was that again?
849.
Damn, you better write some short stories or something. I see on your desk you were writing something. Get something out there. We'll print it. We're running out of material. We're running out of material, Mr. Jeckovich. Here's some random facts Mr. Jeckovich had about World War II that a lot of people don't know. One of them is very interesting, but I'll read a few of the others first. Japan never technically declared war on China during the Sino-Japanese War. If they had, they might have faced more intervention from other countries. Because of this, for decades, it was referred to as an incident rather than a war in Japan. So they called it a war an incident in Japan and China. In the treaties of Versailles, American President Woodrow Wilson, what kind of president was Woodrow Wilson?
Well, he's a old farm boy. He's an old
Was he
farm.
a good president?
He was a good president.
Okay. Cautioned that the terms of the treaty would be accepted in humiliation under duress and intolerant sacrifice, and would leave a sting, resentment, bitter memory upon which terms of peace would rest, and not permanently, but only upon the quicksand. However, he couldn't have guessed how fast peace would fall apart. Yeah, the Treaty of Versailles didn't last. Peace fell apart. Also, Hitler clung onto a dream of the professional art. He thought he was a professional artist, Hitler, long after starting his political career. In 1939, right before the outbreak of the war, he allegedly told the British ambassador, "Once the Polish question is settled, I want to end my life as an artist." So he was a horrible artist, but like most narcissistic asswipes, they think they're special. You could go on Facebook, which I don't do often, and which Mr. Jeckovich hardly ever does. You can see everyone is boasting what a wonderful artist they are, musician. Oh, it just goes on and on. But you think about it, all these people, these narcissistic asswipes on Facebook, they're always bragging about themselves. Here's a double-edged sword. What happens, it's destructive to them, because after a while they believe they're a good musician. After a while they believe in their lie that they're a good, great entrepreneur. After a while they believe they're a good artist, and they just keep on bullshitting themselves, and they lose the desire to really achieve something that with a little bit of practice and hard work they might have achieved. They might have achieved. So that's a double-edged sword. Thank God there wasn't none of that Facebook in your day.
Yeah.
I don't think we would have been calling you the greatest generation of all time. Because that Facebook has destroyed these people. They fool themselves that they're something and they're absolutely nothing. Yeah. And another thing, they think they have friends in there. Their friends don't give a shit about you one way or the other. It's kind of like when people go to the races in Daytona, they're not going because they love the drivers. They're going to witness a wreck.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why they're sitting in that.
Stands over the motorcycle race they had
Yeah.
right there.
They want to witness a wreck. So when you post all this bullshit on Facebook, the people at the other end are saying, what an asswipe. Doesn't she look fat? Her kid's a dirtbag. And they're texting you love and check symbols that they okay with you, and they will give you a response on how beautiful you look. But behind your back, they're laughing at you. So wake up. One reporter recently had, in quotes, 1,000 friends on Facebook, and he invited them all to a coffee shop. If a so-called 1,000 friends, one showed up at the coffee shop out of 1,000, and that one so-called friend didn't come to talk to the reporter, to break bread with him and have a tea. That one friend that showed up came and asked the reporter if he could get a loan. So wake up, people. If you're posting this shit on Facebook, you got a big problem, because people are looking for a wreck, a train wreck, a car wreck, and everything you put there, with the exception of maybe 1%, people are talking behind your back, and you are making a damn fool out of yourself.
They got a new one out there called Red Note right now.
Shit, I've never heard of a red note. Oh, I fucking never do.
Okay, you got 8 minutes.
Okay, give me a minute. I'm reading the random facts, Mr. Jeckovich. Hitler Club, 8 minutes that our studio turns into a bunk, and I guess they throw our ass out or evict us after 30-minute studio rental. Hitler clung on to his dream of being a professional artist. Well, he's a piece of shit. He was no artist. He was just an evil, evil man. Hitler was offered the opportunity to go to architectural school instead of art school, since that was clearly what he was most interested in, drawing. However, this would have required him to return to high school, which he did not want to do so he turned down the opportunity. How could a man that's never graduated high school have so much influence on people that have millions of deaths directly responsible to him?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Hitler painted a self-portrait when he was 21, but his portrait didn't have a face. Of course it didn't have a face. As the Bible tells you, some people are born with no souls. He had no souls, and many of these so-called relatives have no souls. They're living dead. Some art critics had taken this grim foreshadowing of his lack of interest in human life. He basically had no soul. If you don't have a soul, you don't have a face. In his 4 years in the German army in World War I, this son of a bitch was in World War I. Why didn't someone pop him in the head at the time? Hitler never rose higher than the rank of corporal.
Oh.
He never ran during World War I.
Hitler.
He never made it to corporal. King Edward VIII of England abdicated the throne in 1936 to marry a divorcee who happened to be a Nazi sympathizer. There was even claims at that time she was an agent of Hitler set to destabilize the British throne. Well, here's another good point Mr. Jeckovich points out. This is very sad. When most Americans sympathized with Britain in World War II, the United States did have a Nazi party called the German-American Bund, or the German-American Federation, made up of German immigrants. So in the United States, we even had a group of them. Some non-Germans in America also sympathized with the Nazis for various reasons, ranging from the feeling like they were unfairly punished in the treaties of Versailles or agreeing with their policies about the Jews. 6 people. Now here's something Mr. Jeckovich points out. If you're driving a Ford automobile, maybe you should double think it. Maybe you should park it and walk away from it. Maybe you should never go to a Ford dealership again. Henry Ford, listen to this. Henry Ford, creator and owner of a Ford Motor Cars, famously continued to do business with the Nazis in Germany in World War II. He had sponsored an openly anti-Jewish newspaper and allegedly had a picture of Hitler in his office. That's the main man of Ford. A main man of Ford. You want to run out there and buy a Ford? I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. One reason that the German was in such a terrible economic state in the 1920s was inflation, kind of like we have now, meaning that the money became worth less and less, just like now. Just like now. It affected the whole world and was one of the main causes of the Great Depression. But Germans felt it especially hard. Their currency, the mark, dropped from value greatly over just a few years. Now listen to this. During World War I, $1 was worth 5 marks. You get it? $1 equals 5 marks. But by the time 1923 of November rolled around, $1 was now worth no less than 4 trillion marks. 4 trillion marks. How the devaluation of the dollars and recessions will affect you. So let me just finish up this store opening and closing before we get too much in it.
4 minutes.
Okay, we had open for less than a week, and I was getting a semblance of a routine established at the store. I would first clean up all the washers. You did that often, right?
Yeah.
After greeting any customers and listening to their comments regarding their wash. While doing this, I would at the same time check all the washers for any material or water inside of them indicating a plug up. What's a plug up?
The water won't drain out of the washer.
And so they're stuck something in the tubes?
Well, these are all gravity fed. If you put a pillow in there with hot water, the pillowcase will dissolve and all the feathers will come out and plug that washer up.
Is that a big job to fix it?
Well, it gets into the grills.
A small problem like a stuck chute or an outside belt jumping off or broken, I would fix it immediately. Sometimes a more serious nature, such as a plug up or broken inner belt, I would wait until I had completed the cleanup and then tackle it. There was always a time element hovering over me, and I attempted to do as much as possible with the time allotted me. And I still leave the place in a fairly decent shape before I had to go to work.
I mop that place every day.
Yeah, and that's before you went to Kimberly-Clark.
Yeah.
It was a hassle, but somehow I managed to never to be late for work. So you're telling me you worked for Kimberly-Clark for 35 years, walked to work every day, and you had the laundromat for 18 years, and with your responsibilities of maintaining the laundromat,
2.5.
but your responsibilities of maintaining the laundromat, you were never late one day at Kimberly-Clark.
Never absent, never took a day off.
Wow.
Nobody knew I had a laundromat either.
What did you say to people that seen you at the laundromat?
Say, I'm working there for an extra job.
So anyone that's seen you at the laundromat that knew you, say, for example, from work, you just said you're a part-time help at the laundromat. You didn't tell them that you owned it, right?
No.
I think that's a smart idea. I think it was a smart idea. But the laundromat, it seemed like a hard job, though. You had to do a lot of mechanical work.
Oh, yeah, a lot of, well, you had 21 washers, 10 dryers, big pork-bar boiler in the back.
So if you weren't mechanically inclined, that wouldn't be a business for you.
No.
You'd be done. If you weren't mechanically inclined, you'd have to call someone every day to fix it, and then you'd be broke.
If they showed up.
Yeah, if they showed up, yeah. You would be broke because you'd be paying all your money in repairs.
Yeah.
Whatever came in, it would go out double. Minutes, please.
Clyde Coots was supposed to help me, but he never showed up. He never showed up.
What happened to Clyde Coots?
Well, he wound up in Canada.
Why was he in Canada?
Yeah.
Why was he in Canada?
Well, he had a girlfriend over there.
Okay, so he was chasing around a girl.
Yeah.
And so you'd pay him. Clyde Coots would tell you he'd be right there to clean up the store. Never made it.
Never made it.
Wow. Did your wife clean up the store?
No.
Did you ever hire any part-time help?
No.
No? How did you get commission from the cigarette machines and the pop machines and all that? Did they come in and give you the commission?
No, I got the money, I kept it.
You had the keys?
Yeah.
I see. And what brand pop did you have in there?
What brand pop? We had
What name brand was it?
Dr. Pepper's.
He would have Dr. Pepper, that's his favorite.
By the way, Dr. Pepper is the oldest.
And then it has the other one was the what the hell was that?
Coke?
Johnny Ryan.
Well, Johnny Ryan was good because he was across the street from where we
Local.
lived.